Welcome back to the Management Diary. Today I'm hosting one of the professors and a fellow scholar who has done a lot in the scholarship world. He's an author, a multiple scholarship winner, and today we are going to discuss his journey and his book, which as a potential scholar, of course, you may want to read. His name is Dr. Babajide Macaulay. He's a lecturer at FUTA, Federal University of Technology, Akure. That is in Nigeria.
Yeah.
I hope that is right.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Thank you very much for having me, Joseph. I'm good.
I'm very honored to have you here because I've been trying to reach you out for some time now, and now it's good that now we have you on board.
Yeah. I'm happy to be here as well. Yeah.
Doc, you have, I think, looking at your profile, you must have already forgotten how many scholarships you've won so far. But do you have the number offhand?
Well, yes, I do, because I have to use it to market myself sometimes. I have to put it on paper. 14, actually.
So you have been awarded 14 scholarships.
Yes, and fellowships. Yeah.
So what does a scholarship mean to you?
I would say a stepping stone to achieve your career dreams. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Because when I get asked that question about what scholarships mean, it means a lot of things to different people. And for you, I notice it has opened a good number of opportunities.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil the story, so you are going to help us understand it. Yeah. Please take us back to your younger self at level 100, 200. At what point did you realize that now you want to get into this research and academia world?
Okay. Well, I will tell you that it was quite accidental, because when I was in the university, I never even thought about it. I just wanted to be done, graduate and disappear. But I think it was when I was, so there's something we do in my country called National Youth Service, where you get to serve your country for a while. And I was sent to a particular state in the north. It was a secondary school. So I was there teaching biology. And so the students, SS1 to SS3, young boys, it was an all-boys school. I just noticed the trend. So they'll leave their classrooms and come to mine. And my classroom will be full to capacity. And I'll be asking, where are you guys from? And they'll be like, we're from another class. And I'll be like, why are you here? And they'll be like, the teacher in their class is boring. So they decided to come to mine. And I think that was when it dawned on me that there is probably something special about the way I deliver knowledge. And so when I was done with that National Youth Service, I knew at the back of my mind that it was something I was going to try, academia. And 2 weeks after I received a phone call from my university, my HOD was calling me and telling me he wanted me back. And so I felt that was like, should I say, a confirmation that, yeah, this is what you should be doing. So I said a yes. And ever since, I've been an academic in my former institution where I graduated from. Yeah. So I've spent 13 years, I would say, 13 since then.
Yeah. For record purposes,
yeah,
you graduated with a first class.
I did.
And that goes in with a lot of sacrifice. Was this the plan that I get a first class, then I get into research or academia, or what were you thinking?
Well, my background is quite a funny one, because there's this entrance exam you must write to get into the university in my country. It's called UTME, and I wrote it 4 times. First time, second, third, I still couldn't get into a university. I had to write it 4 times before I was able to get into the university where I teach now. So when I finally got in after 4 attempts, I cherished the opportunity a lot. I think that really helped. I think if I had got into the system quite easily, I might not have dedicated the whole of myself. But because it was so hard, I think I felt that I needed to prove my worth, I guess. I don't know. And so that was what drove me to being the best at it. I asked what was the best I could get here, and they said it was a first class. And I said, that's what I would go for. I didn't start with a first class. I eventually got into it by not giving up, halfway into the study. That was when I finally broke the barrier and I got in, and I managed to secure it till the end. And so I didn't get a first class because I wanted to get into academia. I got a first class because I just wanted to prove myself that I was worthy of being the best. That's it. Like, I did 4 times to get in, and I wanted to prove to myself that this wasn't a mistake. I could do this and I'll be the best at it. So that was it. Yeah.
With your scholarship record, we have a very wide audience and people listen from different parts of the world. They may be curious. Does it mean that I need a first class so that at least I can try and replicate what you've achieved so far, all these scholarships you've won so far?
Good question. Well, no. You don't need the first class. I know a lot of people who have helped, a lot of friends as well, who have won scholarships and they didn't make a first class. I knew people who made second class upper. I even knew people who made second class lower and they were still able to get a scholarship. But no, it's not. However, if you're able to make a first class, it just makes things easier for you. It's easier. And that's the reason why. Just let's think about it. A scholarship to an academic institution, they request for your transcript. And that's because they want to see how far you've done in your previous education. So if you've had lots of A's, you had the first class, you did so well, that automatically just puts you ahead. And then if your grades are not as good as that, that makes it more challenging. Not impossible, but just makes it more challenging. So I would suggest or encourage anyone listening to me who is still in school, if you can make it first class, the better for you. It just makes life easier. So that's it.
That aspect of grades is a big debate. I remember we once did an entire podcast just discussing grades, and whatever you just said is true. Actually, good grades gives you an in quote unquote easier pathway so that you can get to focus on other things.
Exactly.
But then if you don't have them, it doesn't mean everything is over. Because somebody taught me about this. We have the merit-based scholarship and the need-based scholarship. Having been in this space, what do you make of these two?
Okay, so I would tell you that the merit-based are more. They are more. The need-based is probably focused on the fact that you can't afford to pay. So they want to see how bad your financial condition is. And if you're able to prove it, then they award you the scholarship. Even though I'm aware that we have such scholarships, they are not the ones that are dominant out there. The dominant ones are the merit-based scholarships. And for those ones, it's beyond your lack of finance. It's beyond that. They want to see that you are a leader, you are brilliant, you are intelligent. They want to see your research capacity. They want to see a lot of things. It's a combination of many things. Then at the end of the day, they compare you in relation to your peers, especially for a given cohort, an application cohort, a particular year. And so if in that year you have high quality applicants, it's going to be very tough. And then in another year, You could have moderate quality, and that might be your year, right? And that's why I used to tell people never stop trying, because if you're not picked the first year, you might be picked the second year, because it all depends on the quality of the cohort of a given year. So a particular year could be tougher than another year because of the quality of applicants that applied that year. So always try, because at some point it will be your time. So that's it.
Always try. Sometimes it's about the
Always.
cohort. It's not about you.
Exactly.
Every day I get to learn new things. That is the first time I'm hearing that.
Okay.
Take me to Greenwich. How did you end
Okay.
up at Greenwich? That was 2 years after your bachelor.
Yes. And so I told you there's this 1 year national youth service you do. So I was away for a whole year in the northern part of my country. I served for a whole year, and afterwards my alma mater retained me, so I had to go back, and I took the job as a young lecturer. I was there for about 8 months, and that's when I won the Commonwealth. So I got to Greenwich because I won the Commonwealth Scholarship, and that was my first out of 3 that I eventually won. So, and that was in 2012, and I got it for a master's degree in sustainable environmental management. Yeah.
Allow me to interrupt this conversation and bring something to your attention. Since we launched this podcast a few months ago, we've had over 50,000 people watching our episodes, which we are very thankful for, and over 12,000 hours. However, we are currently trying to build our audience so that we can get the leverage to invite more guests to our podcast, and we can continue bringing more insights. As you can see in one of these sites, and I bet that's here, at least 80.7% of the people watching our podcasts are not subscribers to this channel. And what we are currently focusing on is building our audience. So I'm requesting that if you may like to support us, if you like what we are sharing, you support our channel by clicking that subscribe button so that we can grow. Our promise is to continue bringing you strong guests with more insights so that we can bring these conversations where you are.
And then, yes, you might want to ask me that my first degree was in biology. So what attracted me to environment? So at the time, there was a whole lot of buzz about climate change, global warming, and so on. And so I was like, I think I like this. I want to. So this is the thing. I would advise young people always pick disciplines or fields that are relevant, especially globally. Not just about what's important to your home country, but what's important globally. And this is important because when you choose to leave your country, you will not be redundant. You'll still be useful. And then even in your home country, you can attract foreign grants and so on, because you're working in an area that is globally relevant. And that's what I did. I realized that in the area of environment, climate change issues, were top. Pollution an issue, solid waste an issue. So I just felt environment was where I'm supposed to be, because I can move around different things and still be useful globally. So that's why I chose environmental science as my focus.
I was having a conversation with an engineer.
Okay.
This gentleman did a bachelor's in engineering, electronics, and they wanted to do a master's in finance on a scholarship.
Okay.
And this now brings us to your case. Somebody may need that justification. Okay, this program is funded, yes. But then how do you justify your transition from one domain to another?
So environment is not, should I say, is not a mismatch, right? I'm not going to a new field entirely, because in biology, as broad as it is, there's an aspect of it called ecology. And ecology is the study of man in relation to his environment, right? So environment is in there. And so based on that, I could easily move into environment. I didn't have to justify much, except for the fact that my bachelor's project was focused on plant ecology. So that made sense if I was interested in environment. Okay. But for someone who studied engineering and going to finance, that's two different worlds entirely. Right. So for such a person, you can talk about transition because I didn't have to do that. I'm still in the same world. So for such a person, that person needs to transition. And to do that, you need to start gradually. You need to start by taking probably a job, an internship, or something that helps you start gradually in finance before you start asking for scholarships and all that, and probably a degree in finance. But you can't just hop from engineering to finance because there are two different worlds. Right. So that's the difference between myself and your friend.
Were you still lecturing at this time when you were doing your master's?
Yes, I was. So when I left on study leave. So I was on leave and my salary was still being paid when I was in the UK. So that meant that I needed to come back, which is why everybody keeps asking me, why did you come back? Why did you come back? Well, that's because I had an agreement with my employer that if they pay me, I would come back. And they paid me for the entire year and I was back. And then after 2 years, I got a scholarship for my PhD. I left for 4 years. They paid me for 4 years, even though I wasn't around. And then after I was done with my PhD, I came back. As a matter of fact, I'm speaking to you from FUTA. So yeah, so that was why I came back anyway.
You know, I told you one of these fine days I'll be traveling up there. We call you the big brothers.
Please.
So I should travel and see the big brothers.
You should actually, and eat our food as well. The jollof rice.
We will have that. We will have that conversation.
End the argument once and for all. The Nigerian and the guys next door, right? I don't want to mention.
So there's jollof and fufu and egusi, but we'll come to that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Doc.
Yeah.
You know, a PhD is not okay. I was about to make a very wrong statement that it's not for everyone. Let me reframe it.
I don't think it's wrong. It's not meant for everyone. I don't think it's wrong.
Okay. So it is more or less like a calling, like a divine calling. And you don't just wake up randomly and be like, I want to do a PhD.
Yeah.
In the environment where you grew and how you had all this training and transition. How did that prepare you? How did that transition you into becoming now somebody who is interested in research? Now that you have already earned your master's with distinction again in the year 2013.
Well, to be honest, let me first by addressing what you started with. The PhD is not meant for everyone. That's the truth. I've seen people quit their PhD halfway. They just quit. And it's because for a PhD, people think you need to be smart, intelligent. No way. That's not it. No, you don't need intelligence and smartness to finish a PhD. You need resilience. Okay? It's resilience. They never say die because the issues, the challenges you're going to face will blow you in the face left and right. And then it's your resilience that will determine if you'll finish that PhD or not. Your intelligence will come to waste at the end of the day. Nobody will care. It will be, are you tough enough? Can you overcome the barriers? Can you solve the problems? Can you do the sleepless nights? Can you write your thesis? That might take you, months and months and months of trying to understand data that sometimes you look at and they don't even look related. So these are the issues that would make you complete a PhD. And so where did I get the resilience from? Yes, my background helped me. I told you I wrote an exam 4 times, the entrance exam to universities in my home country. I wrote it 4 times. That's resilience. Then I got into the system and I still made the first class and the best in my cohort. right? Now, people now ask me, but how? How did you do this? It's resilience. I see myself beyond my grades, and I always want to prove to myself that I'm better than that. And so I always surpass my past excellence. And so that kind of resilience, they never say that. You just want to continue to go at it and be the best. That's what you need. I must tell you that the first year of my PhD, I was depressed. I was depressed. I wrote a long email to the postgraduate research coordinator, 7 paragraphs, an email of 7 paragraphs, explaining why they should change my supervisor. Just because when he's talking to me, I don't understand what he's saying. Like all the terminologies that he uses, I was so blank. I didn't understand anything. And I kept asking myself, are you sure I'm going to complete a PhD in this? Because I don't understand anything. And when I complained, this postgraduate research coordinator called me into his office, and I really loved the way he handled it. He asked me, he said, if you understand everything we're talking about in your first year, then you should already have your PhD. The reason you don't have it is because you are now going to have the time to understand it and solve the problems. So he said, that's the more reason. Exactly. Then learn, right? So I was like, okay, all right. And then I was like, I think the wrong supervisor. I have the wrong supervisor. And he said, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where you are? You are in the University of Manchester, one of the best universities in the world. We don't make such errors. You should count yourself lucky that you are here. And we took our time to select a supervisor for you. We took our time to look through your transcript and what you've done, to know that you are going to be a good fit for the program. We took our time. Okay, let's even say we didn't take enough time. The Commonwealth guys came here. Both of us had to look at your profile to agree that you're a good fit, and they paid for you to be here. The Commonwealth won't make that mistake. We won't also make that mistake. So the only person who hasn't really, come to terms with the reality is you. So you just have to embrace the reality that you are doing the right course. Nothing is wrong. In time, you adjust and you fall in love with everything. Just be positive. And that was why I did. Yeah. 2015. Yeah.
So you got your master's on a scholarship. That was Commonwealth. And then you got in for the PhD. This was equally Commonwealth. Is it right?
Yes. Commonwealth.
So both your master's and PhD were funded by Commonwealth.
Yes. They were both funded by Commonwealth.
Now, what is the first thing you look at when you see a scholarship before you even think about applying? Where is your first target?
Well, to tell you the truth, the dynamics when I was applying for masters was different when I was applying for PhD. So when I was applying for masters, I had no mentor, I had nobody. In fact, I would see people who had won scholarships. I would email them. Sometimes I would send them DMs on Facebook, but they will not respond. They weren't just respond. They will read your message, but not respond. People were literally hoarding information. 2010, 2011, 2012. People were hoarding information. So I just was applying sporadically. I would say once I see an opportunity I think I can apply for, maybe because I met the criteria, I'll just apply. And as a result, I applied to 25 opportunities. 25. Yes, because I was just applying sporadically. 25. And at the end of the day, I lost 23. And I won the last 2. Okay? So my story is quite...
So which one did last 2?
The last 2 were a university scholarship called the London Metropolitan University Scholarship that was supposed to take me to LMU. But because it only funds my tuition, I need to pay for my flight and accommodation. I didn't pick it. I went for the second one. The second one was the Commonwealth. Of course, who would say no to Commonwealth?
Come on, who would say no?
Exactly. So I ended up with Commonwealth because they just fund everything. They fund your flight, your visa, everything. Your living stipend, everything. So that's how I ended up with the Commonwealth.
Which makes sense.
Just to complete what I was trying to say. Yeah, so just to complete what I was trying to say. So for the PhD, the approach was different because now I'm more matured. Now I understand I don't have to shoot sporadically at every opportunity I see. So it was more coordinated. But the problem was that in 2014, I lost all the opportunities I tried to apply for. I lost everything. And so I felt I was cursed. Like, oh my God, I'm now with a master's, Commonwealth-funded, distinction, and a bachelor's, first class. I was still losing opportunities for my PhD. So I was asking myself, what's going on here? Have I been cursed or something? But my time came in 2015, which is why I said never stop trying. In 2015, the first application I tried was the Commonwealth. I saw the opportunity and I was like, well, let me try the Commonwealth again. But I reached out to somebody who was already doing his PhD in Commonwealth, and I said, I want to try this for the PhD. And this person told me specifically, do not apply. Commonwealth will not pick you because you've won their master's program already. And I'm like, really? The person said, yes, they won't pick you twice. But guess what? I said to myself, what am I going to lose for trying? Nothing. So I just submitted my application. And guess what? I won it. So I sent a message to this fellow that I won the Commonwealth PhD. And guess what? He read my message and did not say a word.
Yeah, that was. I don't know how I could have even responded to that because it was a misinformation in the first instance. Did they have any facts or basis for that claim?
I don't know. I think it's just probably something, word on the streets. No, I even had to go read up the terms and conditions, of the Commonwealth Scholarship. There was nothing like that. So I was wondering, where did this come from? And, I'm glad I tried because I would probably have been a one-time winner of the scholarship. But now I'm a three-time winner, trying to tell your audience that you can win that scholarship multiple times. So that's it.
How does a scholarship give you a different experience? And by this I mean going from the most extremes of no funding through part funding to a fully funded scholarship. How does that influence your experience throughout your academic journey? Like as a student, how does it influence experience of the student?
Yeah, well, trust me, there's nothing like having your bills paid for. It's one thing to be in a foreign country where you literally don't know anyone. It's another thing to start trying to study and work at the same time. In a foreign country, it's hard. So what these scholarships do for you is indescribable because it just gives you peace of mind. You can focus more on your study. So just imagine me. I arrived in the UK, and the moment I stepped my foot on the UK soil, I was given a credit card, and I slotted that into a UK ATM, and £500 was sitting there already. It was called arrival allowance.
Arrival allowance.
I had arrived. They gave me £500.
That must be nice.
I'm telling you, and I'm talking about 2012. 2012. I got £500 arrival that you just arrived, right?
Yes, the money for arriving.
Yeah, and what they wanted me to do with the money was to buy clothing, thick clothing, because they know I'm coming from the tropics. And so when I arrived, it will be so cold. And so they know I was going to struggle. And that's exactly what I did. But then, how much do I want to buy a thick clothing? Maybe £15, £20 max. But you are giving me £500. So it's beyond that. They want me to be comfortable. And that's exactly how I felt. And then every month I got £1,000. Okay, so for my master's, I got £960 a month, 960. For my PhD, which I got in 2015, the money had gone up. I got £1,200 a month, £1,200, out of which I'm to pay for my rent and take care of myself. Let me say this. At the end of the day, I couldn't even spend the entire thing because my rent was £350. And how much do I get to spend for myself? Like, come on, it's just me. Probably £200 a month. And maybe if I want to buy clothes, maybe another £200. 400 plus 350, 700 something. I could still save as much as 500 if I wanted to. I could save as much as £500 every month. And they paid me for 3 years. Right? So when you do the math, oh God, I saved a lot of money. So a scholarship doesn't just foot your bills. It gives you extra money to save, for yourself, that you can send home to your country and do exciting stuff.
All this time,
that's it.
You mentioned that all this time you were on a payroll because you were actually.
I was still getting money from home.
Was it your plan to finish and go back home, or is it because you were required to go back home?
Oh no, since I had signed that deal with my school and they were paying me every month, the only honorable thing for me to do was to go back home. Yeah. And the deal was that when you come back, you spend the same amount of time you spent outside, you spend it with us here. And it just made sense. So if you spend 2 years out there, you spend 2 years with us. If you spend 4 years out there, you spend 4 years with us. And then you can be free from the bond and you are free to go. Yeah. So that was the reason I came back.
Which was a very honorable thing to do, by the way. Because at the end of the day, home is home.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. It's very important that we go back and build where we came from.
Yeah.
How do you compare that life now? You just finished your PhD.
Yeah.
Now you are transitioning into academia as a full-time faculty member, Dr. Babajide Macaulay. There's this culture where people don't get to go along with these titles in the UK. But I know it's different back at home.
Oh, it is.
Did you feel very okay just getting home and everybody's calling you doc, left, right, and center?
So, well, to be honest, I didn't even care about the title. I was just happy I was done with the PhD because it was so stressful. I was just glad I was done. I was glad I was back home. I was well received. My senior colleagues, my professors, don't forget this is the school I graduated from. So my professors who taught me, they were proud of me. They were so excited. But it was also a time for me to be very humble. I needed to display it because I felt like I was being watched. They wanted to see how I was going to act. And so I made sure that I didn't do things out of place. I will cite an example. So when I got back home, then I found out that one of my lecturers who taught me, was doing his PhD in my university there. And he was about to do, I think, a progressive presentation of his PhD. And my HOD invited me to sit with them that I should scrutinize his slides. And this was a man that taught me when I was a student. So I was lucky to get my PhD before him.
Yeah.
And now I was sitting in a room to scrutinize his slides. Yeah. So when I found myself there, I was extremely careful with the way I handled the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I had a couple of things to say about his slides, I refused to say it right there. I was just saying, it's okay, it's fine. I didn't say much. After we were done, I went to his office and I told him nicely about those things I noticed. And he was so happy about that. And he effected the corrections immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that he did that because he knew that I respected him. And that way, you could give off your suggestion without being disrespectful. And we live in a society, the African society. You know, things like that culturally can be a big deal. If I was in the UK, it wouldn't really matter. Well, because I'm in Africa, I'm back home. I needed to remember that I'm back home. And so culturally, think about your elders. They are your elders. It doesn't matter. Even if you got your PhD before them, you still have to be very respectful in the way you say what you want to say. And so I was careful about that. And it worked out well. I mean, the system and everybody tends to be happy about me and the things I do. And that's because of the way I have behaved myself. So that's it.
I'm tempted to think you were one of the youngest faculty members. Just looking at this track record, because I don't see a lot of gaps.
Yeah. At the time I got back, oh, of course, I was one of the youngest with a PhD, one of the youngest. And
Now,
to date,
Mhm.
I enter classrooms and my students are always surprised because of how young I look, especially master's students, because I teach masters. So when I get into my master's class, half of the class, they're older than me. So they just look at me and they're like, oh my God, oh my days, what? He's so young. And then I don't get disrespected because of the way I carry myself. Instead, they are just amazed. They're just amazed that this is happening, right? So I don't get disrespected at all. And I treat everybody with respect. So whenever they want to ask a question and I notice that you are older than me, I can say something like, Ma, yes, you can ask, Ma. You know, I give you your respect because I know you are older than me. You can give birth to me, but you are in my master's class. It doesn't mean I should disrespect you just because I am your professor or your lecturer, you know. So again, I'm thinking with my African sense here
Mhm.
anytime I do things, rather than with my Western ideals or whatever I've been taught from the Western world. Yeah.
So, um, you know, you spent 4 extra years learning something new that
Mhm.
more than, okay, I'm not saying the others did not learn, but more than where you left your peers at university,
Yes.
the undergraduate level. So you went ahead to
Mhm.
learn something new in an institutional environment at the master's
Mhm.
level and then at the PhD level.
Yeah.
What opportunities, besides being a lecturer, what other opportunities and platforms does this extra knowledge put you on?
Okay, so that's a very good question. Permit me to say that because of this extra knowledge and the fact that I got my degree from top schools in the world, I started getting invites, invites to speak. There was a podcast I did on biogas because I started doing some work around that. Then I saw a challenge in my university, a research challenge where the students might have a project, but they don't have the equipment to analyze their samples, and the university doesn't have the equipment. So they are blind. They don't know where to go. Where do I send my samples to get them analyzed? Because we don't have the equipment. And because we don't have a platform where you can just check and see what labs or what schools have got the equipment that you want, I just put together a small team and we created a platform called Wadi. Wadi is a Yoruba, is given in a Yoruba language called, and to interpret that in English, it's translated as to investigate, right? To investigate. And the Wadi platform connect researchers to equipment that they need using a geolocator tool. And so that was one thing I was able to do. And we're able to raise grants. I remember that when we went to pitch, the judges asked the question, just one, who amongst you have done research fully? And I mean up to PhD, because that's when you can solve a problem in research. And I was proud to say, I have a PhD. And that was all we needed to win the grant. And we got grants in millions. And that was enough for us to start building the MVP, for the company. So yes, the scholarship has really helped me. The knowledge I gained has really helped me in many ways. In fact, last year, the BBC came to my university to interview me, right? And it's on YouTube, and the reason for that was they heard about the fact that I'm helping people with scholarships. They heard about the fact that I'm connecting researchers to equipment. And again, I'm working on different fields, that are relevant to my home country, like the biogas thing, microplastic, medical waste, a whole lot of things my research focuses on. And I had to do an interview with them, and it was great. It's still on YouTube. So I've gained a whole lot just by going abroad, studying, coming back home. I've gained a whole lot from doing that.
I'm still trying to make peace, trying to pronounce your PhD. How do we pronounce it again?
To break it. So I know it's a mouthful. It's a PhD in environmental, geochemistry, and geomicrobiology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
I will be asking you to tell me more about that. But there was a conversation I was getting the other time that in academia we get to do things that are more inclined or more focused in an academic setting, that sometimes we don't get to expand these boundaries to other people who are not necessarily as technical, but they are still going to need this information. So here is my question that I'm posing to you.
Okay.
What next after the PhD? Like, how did you now, besides, I understand there's this aspect you're training other people. There are other complementary skills that come with a PhD.
Yeah.
But besides that, is there a way you injected all this knowledge and information into practice after PhD? Like, what next?
Okay, so I would say this. Now, I worked on arsenic pollution for my PhD. But when I got back home, I realized arsenic pollution is not a problem in Nigeria. It's a problem in Southeast Asia. And because I was in a world-class institution, we solved the world's problems. So my project, my PhD work was so instrumental in, progressing the arsenic mitigation, right, for Southeast Asian countries, which is good. My works are on the internet. You can always see them there. But then when I go back home, I realized that arsenic is not really a problem in Nigeria. It's not a problem in our groundwater. We don't have it as an issue. So I started looking, but I have skill sets. The PhD has taught me how to use instruments. It taught me how to ideate, and execute and complete a research. It taught me how to design objectives from, a problem that, the society has and research can contribute to solving. I had learned that successfully. So what I needed to do was to look into my community and look at the problems they have. So the first thing I noticed was medical waste disposal. The hospitals here in Akure, they have a problem disposing waste properly. And that was what led me to medical waste management, using my PhD skills in executing that. Later, I got interested in acid rain because of the industrialization happening here. And I noticed that they may release acidic gases, right? And these acidic gases can make rain, more acidic. And this can be a problem. That may explain why you paint your house. And in 5 years, the paint is gone, right? Paint that should be maybe 10 years or more. But in 5 years, the paint is gone. That's because the rain is now more acidic than it used to be. And why is that? Humans have added something acidic into the atmosphere, right? So I did some work around acid rain and its impact on crops. Crop essentially because they are pH sensitive. And so when the rain is becoming more acidic, you are going to feel the impact faster on crops, right? So I did something on that. And right now, I'm more interested in microplastic. And that's plastic that melts off the bigger plastic that you know. You can't see it with your eyes because they're just 5 mm in size or less, right? And so the WHO is yet to even fix a maximum concentration limit for microplastic because it's an emerging contaminant. We are still trying to understand it, So that's what I'm doing now, microplastic and its toxicity. So you can see, I am seriously carrying the skill set I learned from arsenic and I'm using it in relevant areas in my home country. So that's what people should do. People should think about the skill, not the project, but the skill. Because your project might not be useful where you'll be heading to, but that skill is everlasting. It's yours forever. And it's applicable into anything entirely, anything at all. So that's it. Yeah.
That is a very strong statement. And I think I agree with you.
Yeah.
Because the problem that was there to be solved in 2015 may not be the same problem to be solved in 2019, in 2023. Sure. Now, Doc, being a lecturer is like raising academic children.
Exactly.
You are nurturing people. You are trying to show people where opportunities are, how they can optimize their abilities and potential. And this is something I believe you do on a daily basis. But more so, you've taken this beyond your... Actually, you just mentioned BBC. And that is also one of the reasons why we are here on the podcast, because you are extending this beyond just your classroom.
Yeah.
Tell me about how this began and why you started all this. Why are you mentoring people? Come on. Shouldn't we hide this information?
Well, naturally, if you are an academic, automatically you are a mentor. Automatically, because you're going to have these young people around you. You have to tutor them. You have to mentor them. They are young. Most of them are naive. Yes, they are intelligent. They are curious, but they are naive. And so you would have to start helping them, build them, encourage them, refocus that curiosity that could be everywhere. You need to help them now refocus into something that is more meaningful, something that is more, I would say, rewarding. Yeah. So at the end of the day, then you want to leave them excited. They might start off as being confused. In fact, okay, so I'll tell you this. I get students that I supervise in their final year, and I get master's students as well. In fact, as a matter of fact, I just one of my master's students just completed a master's like 3 days ago. She defended her thesis, and I was so proud of her. The external examiner praised the work, praised her competence, and she's done. And she's officially my first master's student that I've been able to graduate from my school here. I have 2 more in the pipeline, but that's my first.
That's a very strong accomplishment. The first of many.
Yes, and that's because it's masters. And because it's masters, it's a whole lot involved. Mm-hmm. For bachelors, I have more than 25 that have passed through me. But for masters, in my school, it's quite a big deal because first, you must give the person a robust project that is um, commensurate with a master's kind of work. And then you supervise. There's an external. There's a whole lot of things that go on. And if the work is not good enough, they will turn it down. They tell you instantly that it's not good enough. So for the fact that I was able to get the student to the point where the student passed, had an A, right there after the defense, the external was telling her to her face that you had an A 76 A, that's a 76%, and she was so happy. And so I was proud of her anyway, to be honest. So that's one thing. It's automatic for us. Mentorship is automatic. It's not something that you choose. It's something that comes for you, whether you like it or not. And at the end of the day, you just have to mentor these kids correctly. You have to. And as you mentor them, you are getting better. As a matter of fact, while I was in the room as she was defending her thesis, the external was making comments about the work that I felt so useful, that definitely will improve me as I'm about to supervise the next masters, because he was making some comments I never thought about, and that technically is going to help me, grow, because I'm young and I need to learn from the older ones. And so while you mentor, you are learning, you are getting better as well. And some people think mentorship is a one-way thing. You just mentor the young ones. But I used to say it's a two-way thing, because they can mentor you as well. It's called the name. It's called reverse mentorship. Yes, reverse mentorship, where your mentee, yes, your mentees will start. It's not really that they mentor you, but they teach you certain things.
Mhm.
But then, in quotes, you can call it mentorship. So as you're mentoring them, they're teaching you a couple of things in return. So that's reverse mentorship, which I think mentors should take advantage of.
While we are still on that mentorship, tell me something about the Scholarship Accelerator Program that you usually run.
Okay, so there's this program I run. It started in 2024 January, called Scholarship Accelerator Program, SAP. And the reason I started it is because I realized that, as I age, I keep getting roles, responsibilities. My 24-hour is no longer there. So a lot of mentees who want my time, I just don't have the time. So I was saying to myself, what can I do to address a lot of people at the same time, so that I don't have to do a one-on-one for many people, because I don't have that time anymore. So I thought about a virtual training where I can just put everyone in a classroom, a virtual classroom, and then I teach you for 6 weeks. And it's intense. So I teach you for 6 weeks. And then after that, you can go on to become a mentor yourself and raise other mentees. Then you leave me alone. That means that I will just win you like a child, like a mother will just win a child and say, okay, you don't grow teeth already. Oh yeah, go away. Go away. Now you can eat bone. Go away and give birth.
Go and mentor
raise other
others.
kids. Exactly. Right. So that's exactly what the SAP is. And it's been successful. I'm in my second year. I do it quarterly, 4 times a year, and this is the second year. And honestly, people that joined last year have been writing me that they won. So the outcome has been great.
And how does
So I'm
one
happy about
become
that.
a part of this?
Oh, when it's time, I just announce. So I have it in February. There's a February cohort, April cohort, August cohort, and October cohort. So those are the 4 cohorts in a year. Yeah. And when it's time, I just make announcements on my page, and then all you need to do is to join. It's not free. You pay some money, but it's
But
worth it.
whatever you're going to get is way more than whatever you're paying for.
Oh, definitely.
There's a reason. There's a reason. Sometimes I feel it is necessary.
Yeah.
For people to. You see, somebody asked me this question, and it made sense to me. There's a time I used to sit down with potential applicants.
Mm.
You want to talk? Just this is my email, we will talk. But then it happened that people don't respect things they don't invest in. So
True.
at least when somebody invests in something, whatever that is, they're going to come at it strongly, and they're going to come focused and ready to learn.
I
So,
agree.
so if you were to ask me, I'd be like, yeah, that is the right way to go. And about that also,
Yeah.
there's another alternative I know you have. And we were having an extensive conversation with a friend of mine I mentioned before
Yeah.
about a book you just released.
Oh, yes.
Tell me more about this book. And if I was to read it, why should I read it?
Okay. So in 2024 January, I also just felt that a whole lot of people want my time. People will call me, please, I need 2 minutes of your time. I want you to just advise me on something. Advise me on this, advise me on that. So in 2024, I told myself, what if I write a book and I pour my entire thoughts about scholarships in that book, such that if anyone picks up that book, they are reading my mind. And so they do not have to call me. Just by reading that book, whatever you see there is what I will tell you if you call me. So you don't need to reach out to me. Just by reading that book, there goes your answer. And so it took me 5 months of constant writing to address every important aspect of scholarships. And I wrote this book of 267 pages, 10 chapters. A big book, I would say. Because you'll be asking, what the hell? 267 pages? What are you writing about? Well, everything about scholarships, trust me, everything. If you pick up that book, you won't need a mentor because the book is a mentor. You won't need anything. That book contains everything around the motivation on how to apply, how to search for opportunities, CV, how to design a proper CV, how to design cold emails, cover letters, scholarship essays, and a winning scholarship essay, your statement of purpose, your personal statement, all of that, all captured in. Then I dedicated the last 2 chapters for those who have won a scholarship already and are confused on what to do next. So I made the last 2 chapters, chapter 9 and 10, for those. So it's called After the Scholarship, What Next? So chapters 9 and 10 are for such people. When you read the chapters 9 and 10, it just gives you an idea of what I think you could do after you've completed the scholarship. Because I feel that more responsibility will be on your head, because now they feel the scholarship sponsors, they feel that they have given you an opportunity. Now you have great power, and that comes with great responsibilities, according to Peter, Spider-Man.
You just said after the scholarship.
That's it.
What next?
Yeah, what next?
That is what I would call this conversation.
Yeah.
I think I just put
Okay.
the title there, so I won't even need to think too
Oh,
far.
nice. Bingo. So you need to pay me for that.
Yeah, sure. I'll have to come for more consultation. Now,
Exactly. Yes, please.
we've been talking about all these things, but I know you are just working today. It's on a Friday.
Yeah.
What does a typical day look like for an academic?
Oh, wow. Well, it depends. So the thing is this: if you're an academic who has been very promising, when I say promising, I mean that you've been conspicuous, your activities are showing, your hard work is obvious, you are likely going to be given roles, administrative roles. Yeah, you would. So, the reward for a job well done is more work. I hope you've heard that. So the moment they realize that you're competent, you're a good guy, you get things done on time, you're efficient, you will likely going to be getting administrative roles like um, examination officer, registration officer, you know, administrative roles, I would say. And these roles have nothing to do with your lectureship. You're still going to be lecturing, you're still going to be doing your research. It's just that in addition to those two, you'll still be executing administrative functions. So the moment you have such administrative functions added to your list of responsibilities, your daily activities will just change. That's why I said it depends. For somebody like me, I've been privileged to be given administrative roles. I was once the general secretary of the academic board. Now, because I'm the Gen Sec, there are a whole lot of things I have to do in addition to my lecturing and my research. But at the moment, now I held that role for 3 years. 3 years. And afterwards, I moved to another role. Now I'm the chief registration officer of the department. What does that mean? That means when the students are registering every semester, if they have a problem, a challenge, it comes to me. I resolve it. So you can understand, I'm already occupied with tasks and all of that. So my days, in fact, I don't even know how to describe because it's a combination of many things. I may have lectures on a particular day, but I would say maybe I should explain it in terms of how my week is rather than my days. So in terms of how my weeks are, there are days in that week that I'll have lectures. There are days I won't have lectures. And there are days when an administrative challenge will come up. Somebody can walk into my office and say, I've been trying to register. I haven't been able to do that because my courses are not showing on my portal. It's my duty to solve the problem. I have to solve it. Somebody else can come in and say, I can see the courses, but there is a particular course I have passed. It's still showing like I am yet to pass it. I don't know why it's there. It's my trouble to solve, right? So apart from that, I will now have students I supervise, final year bachelor students that will come to my office, and I have to see them weekly in order for them to know what to do next. Then I have master students I supervise. I have to see them weekly in order for them to know what to do next. So this is how my weekly activities, this is how they are, as an academic.
You see,
not too nice anyway.
It is engaging. Let me call it like that.
Engaging, 100%. Yeah.
You are a 3 times Commonwealth Scholarship winner.
Yes, fortunately for me.
And your most recent came in 2024. And this one time,
yes.
After
yes,
your PhD, you're going back to do a master's degree.
Yes.
What exactly is going on here?
I know. You think I'm mad, right?
I would be like, why do you love so much knowledge?
You think I'm screwed up here? Oh boy. I know I've got that question a lot. Like, what are you looking for? What is the problem? What is the shape of your problem? What is the color of your problem? Okay, so first of all, I'm so proud. I'm so proud of myself to have won the Commonwealth 3 times. I must say that I'm the only person who has done that, and that can be verified. Anyway, so what was the motivation for another master's? I mean, I got my PhD in 2019. Why do you need another master's? Okay, so this is what really happened. I got my master's in an area of pollution, environmental pollution, basically. And I've been doing my research around that. But then, as I was doing my work around pollution, solid waste, biogas, then I came across something. Carbon credits. Carbon credits. What exactly is carbon credits? Now, when you remove carbon from the environment, there's a reward for it. First, it's either you get automatic grants, interest-free loans from the World Bank. It's called green bonds. And carbon credits is that you get some finances for the fact that you are removing carbon from the environment. And you can sell these credits to companies that are actually releasing carbon into the environment because you are not putting it into the environment. So they can buy some credits from you to give them the opportunity to release some amounts into the environment. Because look, the issue is not about the fact that you release, the issue is about the amount you release into the environment. So if you can keep it low, then that's okay. So, but for some companies, they are already putting more than they should into the environment. So they need to purchase credits from me, who is removing from the environment. I don't know if that makes sense. And so if you purchase from me, then yeah, I make some money from doing a whole lot of good to the environment. But I didn't know much about the dynamics, you know. I'm a layman. This I just said, you know, of some of the things I read. I felt like I needed to learn about it more. So I came across this program called Carbon Management at the University of Edinburgh in the UK. And then the first thing that attracted me was, oh, wow, there's a scholarship under the Commonwealth Distance Learning Scholarship, which means I don't have to leave my country. I can do the program virtually. And I'm like, bingo, this is what I need, the perfect match. And so I applied first in 2021 for this scholarship and to this school, for this program. And guess what? The Commonwealth said no. I was rejected. So when I was rejected, I went back and I just continued my business. I went back to school. I was doing my thing. Then I came across the scholarship for an MBA, virtual MBA. I won it. I did the MBA. You know, I was winning other things, right? I didn't just go back. I was winning other things. And then in 2024, guess what? I saw the opportunity again, brandished in front of my face. And I looked at it and I'm like, should I try again? And then the spirit, as it used to come to me, whispering to my ears, it said, try. You have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You have nothing to lose. And that's what I did. I tried again. And this time around, I think they realized, they just told themselves, this guy is a pain in the ASS.
We just have to get him off the table.
This guy is a pain in the double AS. Also, sorry, double S. And then they just had to let me have it at the end of the day. And when I got the email, oh my God, I was super excited. You know, super excited that I got the opportunity to also be a student of such a top school. The University of Edinburgh is probably 23 in the world, you know, very good school, better than the University of Manchester in ranking, I must tell you that. And then I have to do it virtually and I don't have to pay anything, you know, and to learn something that I really want to learn. So I was so happy. It was later on I discovered that, well, it's like I'm the first person to win it 3 times. So that was an extra icing on the cake.
Of course, you're going to see that.
The shoulder pad is now like, the shoulder pad is like this. Now I can raise my shoulders like this.
That challenge.
Right? No, yeah. And I don't give a damn about it.
All right.
I don't care. If you call me arrogant, yes, I am.
It's actually not arrogance. Sometimes these things you have to show people so that they see that it is possible. Because imagine what could happen if you just saw people from very distant places winning these things and you've never seen people around you. You might be like, we don't belong there. But when I just see my prof here, he's lecturing me, and then he's like, you know, I got this, so I can be like, I think I should try.
True.
Yeah. So, Doc.
Yeah.
You know, we are in the year 2025, and 5, 6, 7, 10 years from now, there will be a new government in Nigeria, and they will be looking for a minister. Environment and such stuff. Have you thought about what happens in future now that?
Yeah. I'm considering politics. I know. To a large extent, let me say this on record. To a large extent, I've been someone that leadership comes to me. I don't even have to beg for it. I don't have to lobby. From primary school, I was made class monitor. secondary school class prefect. The university, I was class representative. I traveled to the UK. I was class representative of my cohort for my masters, right? So everywhere I go, it looks like leadership just looks for me. It haunts. It haunts. It's almost like it's sniffing around. It knows that this guy is capable, and people just tend to come and say, "I think you can do this. We want you to do this." And for a reason I can't explain, I just feel like it's going to happen at the end of the day as well. Politics will find me at some point. Some people will just think that this guy is competent, he can do it, and they might just offer me an administrative role, right? And that will definitely come. And when it does, I'm saying this because I just want everybody to know that I know it's going to happen, so I'm prepared. I'm ready. I already know it's going to happen. So when it comes, the answer is a yes.
Mhm.
It's not let me go and think about it. It's a where have you been? I've been waiting.
I've been waiting.
Exactly. So yeah, I know it's going to happen, and when it does, I'm here.
Yeah, that has been as an insightful conversation, Doc. And I wish you all the best. I hope that time will come where we will get to sit
Thank you.
on a round table to discuss policies.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
because eventually tomorrow is here. They kept telling us we will be leaders of tomorrow, so tomorrow is here.
Oh,
It's time to lead.
Yeah, it's here already.
Now, there are two questions. One,
Okay.
how can I reach you? I've listened to this conversation. I'm somebody who follows the management diary everywhere, but I've never met Dr. Babajide Milton. How
Yeah.
can I get in touch with you? How can I connect with you and try to know every other thing?
The fastest way to reach me is on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm pretty much active on both platforms. Facebook, my username is Milton Babajide Macaulay for Facebook. And for LinkedIn, it's Babajide Milton Macaulay, PhD Ember. So you can easily reach me. Just DM me and I respond. In less than 30 minutes max, you'll see my message. I'm quite quick.
Yeah, we usually say just check the description of the video. You will find the links to his profile. You will find the link to his Facebook, LinkedIn, and of course the Scholars Bible. That is something you may want to check out if you are on this scholarship journey. But then to this prospect, to this person who is applying for the scholarship, somebody who has maybe tried, or somebody who doesn't know if they belong or they don't.
Yeah.
What do you have to say for them?
Well, to a scholarship prospect, someone who is a newbie, I would probably say you should purchase my book. Because I wrote the book in such a way that it's so explanatory especially to beginners. So, but let me just say a couple of things that are in the book. Scholarship newbies. The first thing you want to tell yourself is, where do I see myself in 5 years' time? Where do I see myself? Then ask yourself, do I need another degree to get myself there? If the answer is yes, what kind of degree will get me there? So you can see how I'm speaking to you. I'm speaking to you with a plan about your career. I'm not just speaking to you about, I need money to get a scholarship. No, the issue is, do you have a career plan? That's where we start from. If there's a career plan, what do you need to get there? Do you need a degree? If the answer is yes, I need an additional one. Okay, and you can't afford it. Yes, I can't afford it. Then we can start the scholarship conversation. And then when you know where you want to see yourself in 5 years, then you can start the conversation of what kind of degree you're going to need, what kind of course or program you need to apply for. Yeah, and that's how you make decisions with the future in mind. You make decisions with the future in mind, because when you're about to write your scholarship essay, there's a section for future plans or career plans. So if you are writing your scholarship essay without a future plan, you're not going to win it. You must have a future plan. Every scholarship I won, I had to convince the selection committee that I have a plan. So this scholarship will enable me achieve that plan. And if you're not convincing, they're not going to put the money on you. Do you know how much it is? The value of this scholarship is huge. It's huge. So they are not willing to just put money in the hands of somebody that will not worth it at all, or someone that will complete the program and will disappear into oblivion. We won't even know what the person is doing again. And that's the reason why the Commonwealth loves me so much today, because they can track my activities. I did an interview with them last year. I'm on their website. And the reason is because I'm doing exactly what they want their alumnus or alumni to be doing, which is return to your home country and be useful, be relevant. And that's the reason why I am on their platform. And I think that's also the reason why they had to give me the scholarship for the third time. So I will tell you, first, draw up a career plan, know exactly where you see yourself in 5 years' time, know what program will take you there, right? And secondly, and thirdly, get yourself a mentor, someone that can now guide you through the process. Because if you are a newbie, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. But to reduce your errors, get yourself a mentor, someone that has been there, done that. Somebody like moi. Yeah.
So
that's it. Yeah.
that was Dr. Babajide Milton Macaulay. And this is the Management Diary. I'm your host, Omar Joseph.
My pleasure.
Until we meet again in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.